It's a pleasure. Uh, like Nancy said, I am the Director of Operations here at Revive and Thrive for the thrift store. And I'm the Executive Director of the Ready, Set, Go Work program. Our program is a unique 12-week program where it's untraditional classroom learning. And then we partnered up with a bunch of different organizations in our area, and we give them the work experience they need to put on their resume and seek gainful employment. We opened up June 22nd of 22 last year, and the program launched in July of 2022. The first round of participants, we had just over 20, and all of them had graduated. And I believe it was about 16 of them that have either returned to school for further education, or they were gainfully employed in the retail sector. That round of program it was the pilot program. So we kind of tweaked it here and there. We made different community organization partnerships so that we can help even more people. Right now, we secured a contract with Department of Families, EIA, to train their Indigenous youth. How it began was a friend of mine, Janice Howard, is the founder of the Ready, Set, Go Work program. And she and I are both raising, I'm raising my grandson, and he's of different abilities. He's on the autistic scale and he's developmentally delayed. 6 years old. He's about at a 4-year-old average right now. And Janice is a foster parent of a few kids with different abilities. So our concern was they're going to be able to work, but they're going to need a lot more training than the average person. So we designed this program to help remove a multiple different barriers that we find that our young people are facing nowadays. Janice being a treaty and myself being a Métis person, we designed that we're going to focus on those people only. And that not only, but that's our primary focus is the Indigenous youth, especially those ones growing up in the CFS care system, because all too often they age out of that system and then they get placed on the EIA system, and many of them are not equipped with the skills that they need to find successful employment. And then we just kind of create a second generation or third generation in many cases of people who just it's easier to stay on EIA than it is to, step out of your comfort zone and get into gainful employment. So now we are on our second cohort with EIA, Department of Families. Janice unfortunately has left the program to find, she's working with, I believe, with Manitoba Youth Services. So again, it's in her area of expertise. I hired a new program facilitator to teach the program. It's an in-house program here at 1032 Logan Avenue. We do have access to a classroom upstairs, a boardroom. We are looking to expand and maybe make a computer lab as well. We do have a computer lab, but we're short on the laptops for the participants to be able to work on their. So we do have a couple of laptops that they can work on. It's a 12-week course where the first couple of weeks is all the learning. We have guest speakers that come in from health and workplace safety.
You frozen, Crystal?
Am I frozen? Oh, I'm sorry.
Now you're okay.
Okay. So sorry about that. So we do have guest speakers that come in to speak to our participants from health and workplace safety, residential tenancies board, Safe Working Manitoba. They come in and they give their presentation, teach them about unsafe work, safe work, how to refuse that kind of work. And then they have, I believe it's 12 different lessons that they learn, from customer service to the 7 essential work skills that they need. And then again, like I said, we partnered up with some different organizations that will take them on and give them the work experience that they need to put on their resume. A lot of these children age out of the CFS care and are from group homes. So some of them are lucky enough to be in a foster family where they are fostered the skills that they need, sorting laundry, different things like that, how to fill out your tax forms, workers' compensation forms, that they have the right to do these things. We also have somebody from residential tenancies branch that come in to teach them about tenant responsibilities, landlord responsibilities, and to how to settle disputes that may arise from there. Again, like I said, if they grow up in a foster, in a group home, they don't really have that parenting or that leadership that they need, and then they age out and they get kind of dumped onto another system that again doesn't have the capabilities to foster and to, I don't want to say handhold because that's not the right thing, but to encourage these behaviors in them to seek gainful employment. And the last cohort, I believe there was 14 of them that started out, 11 graduated. As far as I know, I think there's 9 of them that are working. And the participants are always welcome to come back to us if for whatever reason their employment ends or they change jobs or whatnot. Sometimes it's a seasonal position that we hire them in, we get them hired into. So they can come back and we will assist them in finding further either education or another job for them. And so some of them will work and do their work experience right here in the thrift store. If again, some of them just moved to the city from the reserve, so they don't know the city as well. So busing around to different places for them would be a challenge. So they could do their work experience right here in the thrift store, and then they learn a lot of pretty valuable information. It's not always easy working in a thrift store. There's a lot of variables that come into play, but it really brings out, we build character, confidence, and they really enjoy that. And so far that they've been really successful. So it's been a very roller coaster of a year, but it's been very also rewarding as well. Sorry. I don't know what else you have.
Do you have any stories about the people that were doing their work experience with you, Crystal?
Yeah, actually, from the first pilot project, the first participants in July of last year, they graduated in August. I have hired on one of them with me at first, Gia. She was part-time. Unfortunately, she's tied up doing a pickup right now for the thrift store. So we have hired her. She's been phenomenal. Like I've taught her now. She's running the back room for me. She's taking in donations, sorting, processing. She's got some leadership skills. She's training new employees. So with her being with me for just over a year, she's been doing a phenomenal job.
Okay. Sounds like you've got your hands full with all these folks, and
definitely.
How do people get to know you, or do they apply, or are they referred by agencies?
Yeah, right now, because I've secured the contract with EIA, we're focused on them. Futuristically, when the thrift store builds and gains more momentum and is can support the Ready Set Go program by themselves, then that would be, then we could open it up to anybody and everybody who is looking to seek employment and have barriers, whether it's physical, mental, or just lacking the necessary skills to find employment. So like I said, we're under contract with EIA right now. You know of any Indigenous youth from 16 to 29 that is in receipt of EIA, they can reach out to their worker. We're doing another, I believe it's in January, that will be starting up a 3rd cohort. So we're trying to find the participants to fill the class for Jennifer, our program facilitator. And it is just by referral right now, but futuristically in another year or two, when the store is more sustained, I believe that it would be wonderful just to open it up to everybody.
Okay. Other questions for Crystal? Anybody else? Eva, you have a question?
I have a couple of questions. One would be, how do you get your funding, and how do you continue to operate? And then so you mentioned that you were short on computers to be able to do some things with resumes and have your students do their resumes. What would be some of the needs that you would have that would be like computers and other things?
Yeah, computers, laptops would be great. Unfortunately, a lot of the computers that we get in right now just have outdated programming and that aren't compatible for them to do their resumes. Laptops, I mean, in this day right now, since COVID, I mean, a lot of people aren't, when they upgrade their laptop, they usually pass it down to a family member or they sell it online. Sorry, Dylan, please give me a minute, okay? And then right now the store is profitable, but it's just not profitable enough to be able to fund the program fully. So again, right now we've got our funding from Department of Families, EIA, and Jennifer and I are right now brainstorming on how we can reach out to Child and Family Services and kind of get them before they get dumped on the EIA system. And hopefully we're going to reach out to Jordan's Principal, which is another big funding organization, to be able to continue doing this. And again, like I said, in about a year, I believe that the store would be fully self-sustainable and be able to sustain the program without any further funding needed.
Okay, thanks. Any other question for Crystal while we have her? Strini?
I have a comment, Nancy, rather than a question. Crystal, I am just so delighted that Nancy found you.
I am as well. I am as well. My back room's been filling up with sporting equipment and stuff like that. So initially that was one of our things that we had looked into doing, was finding some way. A lot of our First Nations reserves don't have access to secondhand goods. So they are paying top dollar for basic needs that should be available to everybody, no matter where you live. Futuristically, I would love to be able to send excess donations of clothing and household goods at this thrift store. I don't want to say don't need, because obviously we do, but when we do have an access, that would be great to get it out to fly-in reserves or remote reserves like Wasagamak, St. Teresa's Point, where it's very hard for us to get goods up to them. And so that maybe perhaps that the reserves themselves can open up their own thrift store, and then you start a circle where, you know, when they have access, and then they can share their own secondhand goods and create a store for there that would create jobs on that reserve for them. So I'm just happy to be able to junk my back room and give it to people who are in definite need of it.
Well, you came to the right place. We we have you and our club have a lot in common.
Definitely, yeah.
You and I need to talk for a number of reasons. A number of things that you mentioned, that you're programming and so on. We need to talk about how we can be of mutual support. So you can help us and we can help you.
I would love that.
Because, well, I'll just tell you something that'll warm your heart. Because this stuff that you're going to be giving us, tomorrow, Thursday.
Yeah.
The truckload of stuff, and you mentioned the communities in the Island Lakes area. Well, those are our partner communities, as are a number of more remote. We work with the most remote, inaccessible communities way up north, because they are the ones, as you know, are in greatest need. So the stuff that you're giving us, we have been collecting for the last 2 months from our schools and communities. We always collect skates and hockey equipment because they're in great demand.
Definitely.
So we had a call from one of our friends from Wasagamak, and he told me that their arena had been closed for 8 years, the past 8 years. So the children didn't have access to anywhere to skate and play hockey and so on. But this winter, the arena is going to be open. And he said, well, we're happy that the arena is going to be open, but we have no skates and we have no hockey equipment. So our club has been working very hard, and we have collected a ton of stuff together with what you give us tomorrow. It's going to be a huge Christmas present.
That's fantastic.
And so later this week and early next week, we will be sorting and all that stuff, cleaning it all up, sorting stuff together. We've collected a significant amount of stuff. And then I just talked with our friends from Wasagamak yesterday, and I said, you know, we don't want to wait until the winter road opens to send this stuff, because that's already halfway into the winter. Is there any way, you know, for us to pay for all this stuff is going to be, you know, for the shipping is going to be massive. And I was telling him, rather than us trying to find a way to do that, do you have any way of getting this stuff up? And yesterday we agreed that his community is going to be having a charter coming into Winnipeg in early December to buy Christmas presents for the kids in the community. So we're going to be loading this up with the Christmas presents and sending it off to Wasagamak. So we are just excited about this, and meeting you has been a big blessing. So we'll continue to talk, and I'm sure we can work together to help each other out. So thank you very much for sharing.
Well, thank you for being able to get this items up to them, because that's exactly why, like Nancy said, I had started this. Thrifting now has become, it used to be more of the people who like this, like eccentric people or as a hobby. And I believe since the pandemic, it's become a way of life for many, many more people to actually make things stretch further. It's a necessity, definitely been a necessity. And it's just amazing. Like every day something comes in and somebody finds it and buys it. And it's just so rewarding. And then to have partnerships like you with the Rotary Club, being able to reach even more people is just, as you know yourself, is just so heartwarming. It's just fantastic, because we have become a society of throwaway, and we're not recycling as much as we should be, and we're disposing of items that other people can make a lot of use out of. And to be able to get all these, I mean, I wish I was up in Wasaga-Mac when the community receives this all, because I think it's just going to be such a blessing for them as well. So
Yeah.
it's very exciting for all of us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Trini and Crystal. Any other questions for Crystal or comments? Anyone else? I don't see any hands.